We all want motivated students in our classrooms who always strive to do their best and want to learn and be constantly improving. While this is difficult to implement for many students, through implementing the formative assessment strategies discussed by Jan Chapuis, our classrooms can move towards a culture of learning. First, it's important to know the difference between formative and summative assessment. Formative happens right then and there while children are learning, and it's intended to improve learning, and it's carried out during instruction. Summative is more evaluative and happens after something is taught to see where they're at a certain point. Formative assessment, in order to maximize the impact, has to be aligned to instruction. It needs to be diagnostic for both teachers and students, and most importantly, it needs to be available in time to take action, and students have time to act. These classroom assessments yield results. Discussions, classroom tasks help to know where students are currently, and action has to be taken to improve learning, along with feedback and the development of student self and peer assessment skills. Teachers can use formative assessment to answer some of these following questions, such as how should I change my instruction? What misconceptions do students have? What differentiation do I need to prepare? And very importantly, what feedback should I give? Students, who really are the ones who are responsible for their learning, they use formative assessment to act on the feedback that's given to them. They can learn to monitor the quality of their own work, and they can learn what actions to take to keep their learning on track in the future. The 7 strategies of assessment for learning are grouped into 3 categories, such as where am I going, where am I now, and how can I close the gap. The rest of this presentation will go into each of those strategies a little more in depth. Strategy 1, provide students with a clear and understandable vision of the learning target. Students need to know what and why they're learning, and it needs to be written in a way that they understand it. We recommend the CABD model that says the condition, actor, behavior, and degree. Strategy 2, use examples of models of strong and weak work. While we want to keep it anonymous, it helps students to see where they need to improve, and it's also good for teachers to model the process yourself to show the development and the revision as you work. Strategy 3, offer regular descriptive feedback during the learning. This is super important. It goes beyond the grade. It helps to identify students' strengths and weaknesses. It's very important that you give students time to act on the feedback, and we can involve students to give feedback to each other. Students can self-assess and set goals for the next steps. There are many ways to self-assess through quiz grades, through charts, through targets, through different descriptors. Closing the gap. Use evidence of student learning needs to determine the next steps in teaching. It's great to use the feedback loop. You instruct, student takes action, and then you analyze what that action is, and students can go back to revision. Then you design your focused instruction followed by practice with feedback. Just how you don't let an athlete, the score of the game isn't based on the practice, it's based on the actual game, so students need time to actually revise before the final product is due. Some strategies that help you do that: you can have practice with multiple choice, and by explaining why the incorrect answers are incorrect, practice with graphic organizers, and designing practice of a performance task, one task at a time. Strategy 7, provide opportunities for students to track, reflect on, and share their learning. This is important because it allows students to develop insights into themselves as learners. They can see how far they've come, and they develop a deeper commitment to making progress through sharing. Some examples of students keeping track would be recording information about assignments and assessments, as you can see in the example. They can also keep learning journals. They can be dialogue with the teacher, or collecting evidence for a portfolio, and there are a variety of different portfolios depending on the purpose. Students can share their learning through showing that to different parents or other teachers or any other adult, and it helps them develop confidence in their learning experience and capabilities. They can share by writing, through calendars, and participating in things like student-led conferences. So why do this? Well, we want students to move from a performance ego orientation, where they just to prove their ability, and a task completion orientation just to get it done and get a grade, to actually learn and to get better at what they're doing. We want to create a culture of learning in the classroom because that's really the goal of education. Assessments need to be treated as a progression, and mistakes are a way to learn. Feedback is key, and we want students to know themselves as learners and connect effort to success. We need to change the link. Many students link the word assessment with test and test with grade. We want students to make the link between assessment and learning.